Hi, Cary. How's it
Hey,
going?
good. How are you, Amar?
Good, good. Hey, so today's video is retiring to something relative to retiring from something. What does that mean to you?
Amar, when I hear those words, what comes to mind for me is, you know, s- so often people are looking when they're thinking about retirement, they're thinking about getting away from the stress, getting away from the routine, and getting away from the grind of their career that they've probably spent a lot of time in. But um, but I think it's more powerful if we think instead of getting away from whatever it is we're leaving behind, we focus more on what we're going to, right? That could be another career, that could be enjoying travel, leisure, whatever it is a person wants to do in their retirement. But if the next decade is going to be our best decade, is probably important that we focus on what we're going to and leave behind what we're retiring from.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And oftentimes, with working with clients that are corporate executives, that are business owners, uh, yeah, sometimes there are situations where they're done with their job and they're leaving, or their business is not where they want it to. But usually they've been quite successful in their careers.
Right.
But there are also other areas that they want to be successful in, right? And they also want to have the opportunity to spend the amount of time necessary to be successful in those other things.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Amar. Said another way, you want to be just as successful, if not more, in retirement as you were in your career,
Yeah,
right?
right,
And I understand, just like some of our clients who were corporate executives. I retired from a corporate executive role about a year ago, and I got some really good advice from a friend of mine as I was leaving, and I had been at that firm for 35 years, and his advice was, um, when you've been at a place for so long, it becomes your identity and it becomes who you are, and you
right.
need to be very purposeful at putting all of that in the background and focusing on what's ahead of you, right? Even though you don't know what that is yet, you need to really be purposeful about just forgetting that and putting it in the past. And that's easier said than done, but that was really good advice. And I think because of that advice, as you know, I took several months off, right, without working at all, just because I felt like I had to experience what retirement felt like and what
Mhm.
not working felt like before I could figure out what my next step was. For me, the next step was, I still want to stay engaged and stay involved. And so, I'm doing that now, but I also still have more time to take care of just being active and being physical. And I'm involved in some charities in my church as well. And I have more time for those.
Yeah, I think two things here. One, putting pen to paper and being intentional with what you want after you've had a gap of knowing what your options are, right? So, kind of listening to your story, what I hear is that you took some time, let's say 6 months to a year, to just explore what are the opportunities, right? What should I
Sure.
be doing with with the time that I have? But then after that, you became intentional and you wrote down, what you wanted to do, or you had some guidelines of what you wanted to do. Um, we have a next decade planning book. It's basically around living the next best decade, right? So we want to align what's important to us to financial experiences, but there's a financial cost to them, and then how do we make sure that we've actually had them by tracking through your budget or whatnot. And so having that alignment model between things that are important, experiences, and then accountability, if you will, is really important in retirement because you're the only one that's going to hold yourself accountable, right?
That's right. I would say there's a big difference between a person who has what I'm going to call the seat of their pants retirement. I'm just going to do whatever as it comes up, versus someone who has taken that time, set down, formulated a plan, and knows what they want to accomplish, right? And and the person having a plan is more likely going to have that best next decade than the seat of the pants kind of retirement person. I'll just see how things go type. So I think you're right in the sense of you have to have a plan. You need to know what it is you want to accomplish, what you want to do, and then begin to plan on making those things happen.
Yeah. And I want to highlight, as you know, the second part of what I was going to say, and what I want to highlight is that by not having a plan, there are a lot of risks that can happen, right? During COVID, a lot of people sat on their sofas with their TV on, and they had their iPad out, and they had their financial accounts out, right? And we were having those conversations where, they're getting the input from the TV and they're looking directly at their accounts, right? The other thing is that when you're in retirement, you probably have children, and you probably tell your children, there's this phrase, keeping up with the Joneses, right? Like as your expenses are increasing and you're not able to save in your early years because you're spending more. That same phrase is true in retirement, as what we see is some people try to keep up with other people in retirement, but that's not the retirement that they want. So they're ultimately unhappy, or they've overspent and now they can't do the things that they want to do.
Yeah. There's some really good advice kind of hidden in what you just said, Amar, because you have to have your retirement and not someone else's retirement. And you have your own retirement savings and not someone else's. But even more importantly than that, you have your own goals financially that may be different from someone else's goals. And the people I'm comparing to, maybe don't plan to leave anything to their children or charities, right? Where another person, those things might be important to them. And so it is more important to have your own plan and not keep up with the Joneses in retirement.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So if you need help trying to figure out what's important to you in retirement, or if you need help trying to identify a priority list of those things, and kind of going through this workbook, feel free to email us. You can visit us on our website. We also have a resources page on our website with this actual workbook on our website. So feel free to download it, go through it, and then tell us what you think.
Yeah, I agree, Amar. I think that's really good advice. And I do encourage people to reach out.
Yeah. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, everyone.